Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Play Starcraft 2, The Destruction of Jared Singe. I'm the Mysterious JG. Last time we did the mission whose name I've already forgotten, but it's the one where you get the Thor. Excuse me, the Odin. This is the mission where we get access to the Thor as a unit type. Odin is a special hero version of the Thor. In the last mission we had to accompany it around while Tychus Findlay, just kept charging ahead trying to get himself killed, and we had to keep him alive. It was a fun mission. We had access to the Minotaur-class battlecruiser, which, if you played the game in, roughly the intended sequence, the game gives you the freedom to play in different orders. But if you play in the sequence that the game kind of sort of vaguely wants you to, you're probably not going to have the Minotaur-class battlecruiser. But honestly, because they're so expensive, I don't know if having those and using them instead of wraiths made things easier or more difficult. We definitely got through it. We got all of the bonus objectives. I did not get the hard objective, the special you get more points for your gamer profile of keeping its health above 30%, the Odin's that is. People have expressed some interest in that. They've popped up. I'm blanking on the username, I apologize, but I've had somebody popped up and give me hints of, oh, well, you know, if you'd set up more bases or if you'd moved your base and collected more stuff, you might have been able to get, you know, stop the Protoss a little bit faster on the Haven mission, get the hard objective. And if you give me comments like that and advice and pro tips and strategies that you think I should have tried, and you're not douchey about it, it's not prefaced with, you are the worst ever, OMG, I'm usually pretty happy to receive that kind of advice. But be advised, if I can win the mission on hard and get all the bonus objectives, I'm really not going to, you know, lose a lot of sleep over not getting the optional you get more points hard objective, because I don't even know what they are when I go into the mission. So at one point I had a brief StarCraft 2 kick where I was trying to do those. I would play through the mission on hard and find out what that extra objective was and try to accomplish it. I'm not worried about it for LP purposes. This game is way too easy on normal, and for me on hard it's... I'm tempted to say it's too hard on hard, but frankly I'm coping. If I wasn't LPing and I didn't feel a little bad every time I had to load, that I was wasting my viewers' time or not being efficient, if I wasn't worried about that stuff, I'd be totally cool with the fact that this is much more difficult than it is on normal. This plays to me a little bit like the original StarCraft, maybe not quite as hard as Brood War, although it's going to get there, I think, before it is over. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Somebody is on, that's Alpha here again, whatever, okay. I'm sure there is a way to disable those notifications, but I just haven't bothered to figure out what it is. Whatever. Our next mission is Media Blitz. We have to capture the UNN studios. I don't believe we're going to have a cool cinematic with Donnie Vermillion. I probably shouldn't have said that, because I'm sure you guys are looking forward to it. Or, Kate Capwell, whatever her name is, the cute kind of reporter with a leather jacket who sort of is around flirting with Valerian, etc. Sad to say, I don't recall either of them showing up in super cool cameo. But it is the UNN studios that we're going to take over, so it's cool beans. Let's listen to Matt Horner. Let's hear what Matt Horner has to say. The power is yours.
We have the Odin. Now we can use it to spearhead our takeover of the UNN studios on Core Hall. Once the Odin has taken out their defenses, we'll broadcast our evidence against Mengsk. Figure they'll throw everything they have at us. They'll be talking about this one for years.
Arcturus Mengsk's homeworld of Core Hall was once a prosperous colony until it was obliterated by Confederate nukes. Vast fortunes have been lavished on the planet's reconstruction since Emperor Mengsk took the throne 4 years ago. And then we got the Thor, a heavy assault mech. Can attack ground and air units. There is no perfect, unbeatable unit in StarCraft 2, just as there was none in StarCraft. There is no single unit that you can build en masse that is not counterable, uncounterable. The Thor is no exception. The Thor can attack land and air, so it is not helpless against air attackers. But its air attack is weak compared to its ground attack. So when you are playing against an opponent using Thors, you're going to want to attack them with air to ground. And when you're playing as a Terran and trying to use Thors, you need to give them air support. This mission will not be an exception. So let's launch.
Our raid on the Valhalla facility hasn't even been reported yet.
Cool beans.
The Dominion have no idea we stole the Odin. I had to call in every favor I had, but I got the Odin on the surface with Tychus inside.
Matt, you're a miracle worker. Must have been a complicated operation.
You don't even want to know,
It would
sir.
totally strain your
I'm
credulity.
not gonna let anything keep us from exposing Mengsk.
So they're still expecting to film it at the UNN studios later today?
That's right. And we won't disappoint them. Seeing as he's the only one with experience, Tychus will pilot the Odin and hit the studio guards with a surprise attack. They'll be confused for several minutes, and won't even know who to attack at first.
And during the confusion, we'll establish a forward base using this command center we acquired earlier. Pretty devious, Matt. I like it.
Sexy.
If Tychus can inflict enough damage during the sneak attack, making the broadcast should be relatively easy. Keep in mind, we'll only have a few minutes before the Dominion realize that Tychus is in the Odin. Once they figure it out, they'll use everything they've got to stop
Oh, I
us.
don't remember this cinematic.
Whatever
Maybe it happened
happens,
before,
we'll
but
be giving Mengsk one hell of a broadcast.
they are telegraphing the
this.
fact that you're going to face heavy air assault against the Odin. And I don't remember seeing that particular cinematic. Before starting a surprise attack, look around and decide which enemy base you want to crush. That's a good point. So the deal here is on normal mode you have time to take out one base, and you can start in on the second base if you want to. There's a total of about 4 enemy bases. One of them just does nothing but guard resources, and it doesn't, if memory serves, have unit producing structures. That might have changed in hard mode. The other 3 all have unit producing structures. And basically you can look at the unit producing structures and you can figure out what kind of attackers they're going to use on you. So there's one that has a bunch of I'm blanking on what they're called, but it's the actual structure that produces flyers, starports. You want to get rid of that one, because that's going to be the toughest thing for you to defend against, unless you really concentrate your defenses on that, or your attackers, excuse me, on that, your support for the Odin. But on hard mode, I have a feeling it's going to be a lot more difficult to take out an entire base during this, like, the enemy is still on snooze mode. And the Odin, basically the way it works is you can attack, and the AI will not counterattack, but any units that are in range when you are attacking, they will get aggroed and fight you. So you're not going to have if you attack one of the 3 bases, the other 2 will not send support for that 3rd base until the countdown clock, surprise period over, expires. I believe it's a mission prerequisite that the Odin survive. I might be wrong, because it's not like we get to use the Odin on Char. This is the only mission where we get to use the Odin. So it may or may not be required that it stay alive. I'm pretty sure it is required because it has a plot character, Findlay, in there. The game's story cannot resolve properly without Findlay. Or Findlay, whatever the heck is actually called. Tychus. Stop blathering and get on with it.
I'm in the Dominion security network, bringing up their locations now.
That's the base we want to get rid of. This base has siege tanks, significantly less of a threat. This base has infantry.
All right, Tychus, do you think?
Thought you'd never ask.
He's going to start attacking, I think, immediately. Or maybe not. Let me see. So here's a base we can take over. Attack the Dominion to begin the surprise attack. Odin.
Let's see what this baby's...
Odin, unique heavy artillery walker. The Odin is a special hero unit. Has the ability to call down a devastating barrage. New ability, Barrage. Use the Odin's Barrage ability on groups of enemies to quickly destroy them.
Got.
So I'd love to... We don't get to control these guys until after we start the surprise attack, I believe. Basically because they don't want to give us the freedom to build up all our resources and a huge support force before things get moving. Similarly, these guys aren't doing anything. So these guys just have like two barracks. It's not a big deal. This base is significantly more threatening. It's got a lot of stuff. It's got 4 starports. So if you're going to choose one base to destroy, and you really don't have time to destroy more than one, you've got to destroy this. He can't even get there without taking out these troops that are right here behind him, but they are not enough to wipe them out. Then you can come and destroy this base. This base is going to produce things like Goliaths, Diamondbacks, and siege tanks. Certainly dangerous and threatening, but not to the same extent. And this base is going to produce vultures and infantry. So if you can only choose one, you can only get rid of the ones with the starports, as I've already said. I'll just beat that to death here. There is also a hidden, I believe it is over here, so we can't see it until we explore the area. But to find the hidden mission, we need to get a unit over here to scout this area, because it's got hidden specialist stuff. So, once we get going, we're not allowed to control this area yet, but once we really get started, I see they are producing units. Once we're given control of this base, we can do our thing. We can expand to here, and we can expand to here. There's a lot more resistance. Well, there's not a lot more resistance here. There's more resistance here. So this is our natural first expansion, although it puts us right next to a pretty big base. So we would definitely need to have defenses up here. Alternately, we can try to last as long as we can at this base. And it does have a decent mineral harvest thingy-jigger. So let's see if he can get out of here without killing these guys. I don't believe he can.
I like
No, he has to take these guys out.
Odin has gone rogue. Repeat, Odin has gone rogue. Bring it down! Attention, rogue pilot.
He's
this is General
already in
Warfield,
trouble.
Dominion Command. You're ordered to stand down or face immediate termination.
This baby's got.
Raynor, rock and roll.
So this is where I want to come to.
This'll get her done.
Get her done. Geek, geek, geek. Do I have control of this yet? These guys are still neutral. So we got 3 minutes to do as much damage as we can with the Odin. Problem is, the Odin cannot be repaired.
It's gonna kill us all! Help!
Heavy duty.
The gift of freedom.
Let's see what this baby's got.
Fortune favors Squash the bold. Like bugs.
I like
Hopefully
it.
these guys will die in this barrage.
Hope this thing's
Maybe
insured.
not. Yeah, we got trouble.
Follow me home.
Our anti-air is too weak to take these guys out.
Let's see what this baby's got.
So
It followed me home. Can I keep it? Nothing but a smoking crater.
our problem is we can't send anyone to help with repair. Because we don't take control of these forces until the sneak attack's over. So we've got to be very careful. This base is the obvious one to take out as far as being the most threatening, but it's
It followed me home. Can I keep it?
also the riskiest one for us to try to attack.
Leech.
Wrath of God incoming. Squash them like bugs.
Damn it, I was really hoping not to aggro him.
Wrath of God incoming.
We're going to lose here now. Yep. Okay. So, first big lesson I learned here on normal mode, there is pretty much no way the Odin's going to get killed during the sneak attack period. It's just not going to happen. Not true here. So, I don't think I can do what I did on normal mode. I can't take this base. It's more than he can handle on his own. Alright, so here's a restart, but it's early in the video. It doesn't really count, does it? Nah. So I'm going to have to take... What did I just do? Okay, alright, so I guess what I'm doing is I'll just I'll kind of introduce, because what basically happened to me is I had a video and something happened and I got the entire video. I got the first chunk of commentary, and then the capture thing had to kind of restart in the middle, so it broke the video into 2 pieces, but it didn't restart the commentary capture. So I'm kind of like, for the people watching my video, they'll be watching for like 10-15 minutes, and all of a sudden I'm going to have to reintroduce the fact that it's post-commentary in the middle. So I'll just do that now.
You don't have to reintroduce anything. You should just go without any sort of introduction at all.
Just suddenly have Grimmeth pop in, and everyone be like horrified. Oh my god, Grimmeth has invaded!
Yes.
Sounds like one way to do it. But that's all I'm willing to say. That's certainly a way to do it. Okay. Anyway, as we'll have.
Sounds like one way to do it. Yes.
As has been described probably in the description for the video, lost my commentary track, but Grimmeth Reaper himself has agreed to join me. Thank you very much, Grimmeth Reaper, for agreeing to join me.
Well, thank me, yeah.
Okay, well, you know, if I get to a position where I shouldn't have thanked you to begin with, I'll probably just have to, you know, do post-commentary by myself later. But,
I thought you were going to say you're going to, like, Indian give the thanks or something, you know, take it back.
All I know is that I said thank you, and apparently that was already a mistake, so I'm trying to be nice. But Grimmeth's being very nice and helpful.
Well, there's your first problem.
Grimmeth has helped me out with post-commentary on Starcraft 2, a game that he hasn't had a chance to play for himself, but I'm sure he would love dearly if he did, because he's...
Oh, I've had plenty of chances. I just don't care.
He hasn't taken any of them. But I mean, I'm sure that you would love to play the game because of your great fondness for the creative force behind Starcraft.
No. Otherwise I would have played the game.
All right, I'm trying to be facetious, but you keep taking me literally. At any rate, let me give you the quick background on what's going on, because there's a little...
I'm the straight man. We've been over this.
Right. So, basically, we're going to start the mission.
Look, we have an hour to go through here of us watching this video, right? You don't need to give me a breakdown of what's happening. I'm going to see.
Well, this would be over by now if you didn't keep interrupting to tell me not to do it. But basically, we've got like a hero unit. We're on the planet Core Hall. We've snuck in this hero unit that Mengsk Evil Dominion doesn't know we're controlling, and we're trying to launch a sneak attack. And I have discovered to my dismay that unlike normal mode, where you get your sneak attack off and basically time is a limiting factor, on hard difficulty, not getting killed is a limiting factor. So I had a quick run through where I basically got myself killed, kind of chuckled, and I'm starting over, and that's where we're at. As we begin.
All right, Core Hall, the former seat of power for Arcturus Mengsk's father, which was turned into a superheated ball of desert and glass by the Confederate nuclear missiles. That's totally the condition it's in now, right?
Well, it's something akin to where it was in Brood War, where it's still kind of a hellscape, but they've put a lot of effort into trying to force it to be the capital of his dominion. I don't think it's wholly inconsistent, but you'll see. It's kind of a created cityscape, but, well, let's watch.
A created city?
Not like one of the naturally occurring cities like you sometimes will come across. So we've got our giant tank of death.
Odin has gone
That's
rogue.
good. Tanks of
Repeat.
death.
Start attacking stuff.
Bring it down! Attention, rogue pilot. This is General Warfield of Dominion Command. You're ordered to stand down or face immediate termination.
It really doesn't seem like a fair fight whenever that thing's involved.
Well, that's how it is on normal, and then as I found out on hard, basically it's a big old thing that's waiting to get killed at all times. It's half dead from having been attacked by a bunch of Marines.
I like
It
it.
moves pretty quickly, all things considered.
No, it would be a nice unit if you were allowed to use it. If you were allowed to actually build them, but it's a hero unit.
I thought it was like, like a
Heavy
Thor,
duty.
given life somehow or something. I don't know.
What it's basically it's the pumped up version of the Thor. In storyline terms, the Thor is what you build based on the schematics for this crazy ass thing, which is too big and practical.
This'll get her done.
So anyway, you got the map down in the lower left of the screen, and what you missed me trying to do, although I'm sure you'll go back and watch was trying to take out one of the 3 main bases, which on normal mode is very plausible, and you can even take out half of the second base. But on hard mode, it's not so much, because you don't get control over your own base forces until after this surprise attack timer has run down, which means I can't support this thing at all.
Okay. Important question number 1. How much time have you spent from marking on the differences between normal and hard?
Probably the majority of the time I spent on the Locust.
Well, there you go, folks.
Well, I started on normal. It's too easy. Hard's bringing it up.
I know. I read some of the video descriptions that popped up on my YouTube page.
Well, that's akin to having watched some of the videos, I guess. Meeting me halfway.
Let me guess. JG, fucks around, wipes out everything. Claims a bunch of resources. Yep. Okay.
That was normal. Hard mode is like you run out of resources before you can wipe everything out. So it's a bit more like Brood War.
Squash them like bugs. Nothing but a smoking crater.
Clearly, you just need to go play the Enslavers campaign, then.
I watched you play the Enslavers campaign. I'm not sure that I need to play the Enslavers campaign.
Well, now that you know the pro strat, you can pursue the alternate ending. Now, here you are. What are you doing, like, studying the options?
Fucking around with Lord knows what. I have no idea.
My Odin's not running at optimal speed.
But Jeffrey Schroeder's come online, so that's good to know.
It's going crazy.
I'll have the controls for optimal speed of the Odin's
off the leash.
Its rank is a prototype. I never heard of that one, and suppose this is the space military.
This thing's insured.
My irritation being that no matter how many kills it gets, the rank never changes.
Alert's gone out. It won't be long before they shut me out of
Now
their
there's
system.
the guy that I thought was supposed to be our player character from Starcraft, but I was struck down by the Starcraft smarks, I should say.
By the Battlecraft.
The Warcraft journeyed to my realm.
You're far more sophisticated.
So now I've got a minute left, and I'm like, I should be doing something with this thing, but I'm basically gingerly prepared to retreat at any moment because I'm not allowed to have this thing repaired by SCVs until the minute's up.
Squash them like bugs.
Meanwhile, you're over here barraging the Dominion.
Well, I do need to get rid of these things eventually. I might as well get a head start going.
Are they vultures?
Yep. I think they're campaign only. There's really nothing from Starcraft that they don't let you play with in the campaign, just so people don't get it. I don't think they're in multiplayer. Now
hey, my ride's getting kind of fucked up here, Ken. Can I get an SCV?
Nothing but a smoking crater.
You need 100 kills. Damn it! Bullshit.
Oh man, 100 kills. He's at 92 with 5 seconds left. It's not happening. Yeah, so in the
I guess I can't test repairs.
In the previous footage, I tried to take up the northwest face, which is easily the most dangerous, as I confirmed by getting killed by it in about 45 seconds.
But I have gained
Alright, I guess you can have repairs even though you didn't get
close to one of the broadcast towers long enough to get our message out.
Otherwise, you'll just save load until you do.
We need to control each broadcast tower long enough to upload the data.
In the interest of making this video more expedient, I guess I'll concede to your demands. That's a good idea that you conceded to that fucker's demands.
So I don't know if you recognize that hairy motherfucker down there in the bottom left. That was Jim Raynor. Something's happened. He has hair.
It's almost as if the passage of time has, maybe he has been shaving his head.
I assume when white dudes start shaving their head as a style choice that it's pretty much because they've gone bald.
Let's see what this
I know black guys can pull that look off. White guys like, no, you just don't want to admit you're going bald, man.
There are people of all sorts of racial and cultural backgrounds who can pull off a shaved head.
Oh, Shaolin monks, of course.
I see the SCV doesn't look as packed in as it used to.
Yeah, it's not packed in nice and tight anymore.
That big dog is home.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Got your SCV packed in sloppy and loose. That's what I call sloppy.
SCV ready.
Excuse me as I proceed to be bigger than your entire command center. That's not a big deal or anything, right?
Well, I think when this game was still, they were like doing teaser videos and stuff. They had an April Fool's prank where they had the Odin, and it was supposed to be something that your they showed you the footage of the Odin, but they told you in the April Fool's prank that this was the ultimate form of the Terran Command Center that it would turn into like a Voltron.
SCV ready.
You could have like 5 SCVs combined into this one guy.
Gotcha.
Which, yeah, it's a nice April Fool's joke, because if they had really done it, it would have been impossibly silly.
But the most important thing is that you can repair it with
This baby's
SCVs.
got.
Yeah, so it's...
Got something for me.
Because it is... Oh, and there's our Arnold Schwarzenegger VA.
Go ahead.
Because, yes, this is a hero unit that must survive. Something
And
that...
I'm seeing this repair autocast doohickey that people keep trying to tell me about in the original StarCraft. It totally exists.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I have... I'm waiting for the mission where the Protoss and Terrans are on the same map so I can repair them. It hasn't happened yet. It's coming.
Oh no. What do you know, JG the Turtle are building bunkers and putting Marines.
Well, the backstory here is that the last about 3 or 4 missions of the campaign, I had to rush, and I really wasn't building bunkers. And this is like the first mission where I looked at my minerals at this base, and I'm like, holy shit, I can turtle. I have the option. I must take it. I also didn't know that I'd be doing post-commentary. I probably would have taken a little less time.
It's some really fancy shit, too, with this whole rally point on the mineral node. By the gods.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Look at that! Those bunkers rally point for the... Well, I guess you can do that in StarCraft. Never mind. You see how I set my rally point inside the bunker for the barracks? I'm an incredible strategist.
They don't do that. They don't auto-pop into the bunker.
They don't? No, it's been a little while. I've been playing this game. I moved on, Grimmett.
They followed me home.
To the
with all the time
new
you spent
sexy.
on StarCraft and Brood War, I'm amazed you were able to move. Got a full clear every map.
I'm still waiting for somebody to pop along and accuse me of stealing your strategies. When I finish. Any time now, I'm gonna start getting these.
Really? You?
In the rear with the gear.
Well,
that would be interesting.
I just watched. I guess I'm watching them out of sequence, but I watched. It's not Homeland. It's the one where Tassadar's in a stasis cell. I watched you clear that, and yeah, it's like you made it look a little bit smoother than I did, but it was still pretty much the Arbiters.
I mean, that's pretty much the most dangerous AI in all of the programming. It's the Protoss AI, particularly whenever the campaign AI. When they have the Arbiters up and running. You don't exactly have to run into so many Arbiters on an actual, like a map, because they have to get the Arbiter tech first, and then they have to accrue all of the Vespane gas to build it.
You've got to really commit to Arbiters in, like, multiplayer.
They fucking, start with 6 Arbiters. It's like, well, fuck me.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, my thing...
Guess what's going to happen today, everyone?
Well, my thing with that one, too, is that I came to a point where it really, really looked like I had blown it. Like, I had spent too much on carriers that had not survived, and I wasn't going to be able to claw back. But it was after I'd already put, like, 45 minutes in. I'm like, no! If like, 20 minutes in, I can tell that I'm not going to win. I'm fine. I'm like, not 45 minutes in. God damn it. So I got my pro strat going, double, armory. Because I'm planning on building every upgrade in the history of the Terrans, possibly a couple of upgrades for the other races. Just
only to research them all over again in the next mission.
Yes. I never quite figured that out. How come Raynor and his friends can figure out how to have level 3 weapons, and then they just forget, like, sometimes a matter of minutes later when the missions are set right on top of each other?
I think the more important question is, knowing that they're going to be forgetting in advance, you choose to do it anyway.
Okay. I find it to be fun, especially, well, in this case, it's just me being, like, rejoicing in the fact that I'm being allowed to turtle for the first time in about 4 or 5 missions, but normally, if I commit to building mass something, I want to upgrade it.
You scared me! These fucking fancy-ass shit bunkers.
Yeah. Well, some of this is campaign-only nonsense.
Less time passed in the endgame world than it did between StarCraft and StarCraft 2, I think.
Upgrade complete.
Say that again?
Yeah,
less time passed in the endgame world than time passed in the real world between StarCraft and StarCraft 2.
I think you're probably right.
I thought it used to be originally like 20 years, but what it ended up being like 4, 5, 6.
I don't know. I mean, none of the characters look any older, which I guess for the Protoss is okay. For the Terrans, not so much. Although Mengsk has a son who, if they probably retconned his son as having been lurking around in the background during StarCraft, but yeah, he just kind of pops up in StarCraft too.
Perhaps
as a full-grown boy.
how they ended up mentioning it is Arcturus Mengsk was the last surviving member.
What's going on?
Yeah, I believe that's been retconned. Either that or like he had a son who was put in some kind of like crazy high-tech chamber so he could be like, you know, 20s and sexy in time for StarCraft 2. He's very Cao Pi-ish. He reminds me of Cao Pi, the Dynasty Warriors 5 version, for whatever reason. He doesn't actually do it, but I keep waiting for him to toss his locks as he's talking to you about, you know, the future of the Dominion or whatever. Yeah.
Don't panic. Everything's okay.
No, I'm always afraid that something is gonna stasis field my guys, even though they don't have that in this game.
Well, I mean, like, I like, don't worry about me. There was a thing that happened.
It's a thing. It transpired.
Upgrade complete.
Upgrading like a fiend. Upgrade like a sumbitch. Upgrading things I'm never gonna build.
Upgrade.
You know, perhaps the situation would be better if you played the video at 2x speed.
Why did I think this was gonna be a good idea? It's like, you know what I feel like? I feel like having Grimmeth make fun of me for an hour.
I was just as surprised.
No, it's not like I can call you on this. It's like, hey, you promised you were going to be nice. No, that promise was never made. So.
Like, I cleared out my Sunday afternoon schedule to be here.
I told you an hour, although if I had just told you I played one mission of StarCraft 2, would you like to watch? You probably would have been like, okay, clear 3 to 4 hours, depending on how many times he has to restart.
Well, I don't know about your StarCraft 2 acumen, because I haven't been watching, because I have no interest in the game.
The story-wise, it's no stupider than Brood War, but that's pretty damning of a faint
Oh
praise,
yeah,
you know?
Chris Metzen's still the one writing it.
It's consistent with Brood War.
Should be. He made the fucking universe.
Well, there was all this stuff in the StarCraft like
Complete.
lore that I had no knowledge of when I first played the game. Like all, and it's actually been fairly consistent throughout. But like, you know, the Xel'Naga, like they start talking about the Xel'Naga in Brood War, and I'm like, oh, that's a neat new idea they came up with. No.
To be fair, I don't think you read the instruction manual.
No, I didn't read any of it. That's why I didn't know about fucking explosive damage versus concussion damage. I still don't know what any of that stuff is. Yeah,
I'm going to explain it to you now, then. There are myriad types of damage in the original StarCraft game.
You can explain it to me if we do multiplayer later. I might need to know it.
There's normal damage, there's explosive damage, there's concussive damage, there's splash damage, and then there's special damage as caused by the Devourer's attack, which is unique.
Oh, I knew about splash damage, of course.
And there's spell damage. I don't really count that.
Well, they've, I guess there are still spellcasters in 2, but they really seem to have moved, and it's not quite as bad as Diablo 3 dumbing down Diablo 2 for, you know, just people who just want to click. But yeah, there's definitely less focus on spellcasters in this game.
Base is under attack.
Base is under attack. Holy crap!
Hopefully they don't need spells as much as technology.
This better be good.
They don't need dark elves casting blood, whatever.
Blood whatever. Cast that blood whatever on me right away.
My favorite spell from Warcraft, whichever. Blood whatever.
My God.
Let's roll.
Warcraft whichever.
Coming. I am here. Click me.
So the actual plot at this point, because I'm sure you're interested, is that as it turns out, the Mengsk doesn't, or Raynor doesn't really like Mengsk very much, and is trying to undermine him. Go figure. Go figure. So at this point, and this absolutely kills me. This just murders me. Oh, there's. Oh man, I thought we were gonna get to hear scary fascist Mengsk dialogue, but I think I accidentally cut it off. That's something I did in game. But so we have come across an audio recording of Mengsk saying that he doesn't care about saving the lives on Torsonis. He will rule this sector or see it burned to ashes before him. It's directly lifted from the previous game. I appreciate the fact that they got the wording right. But now Raynor has an audio recording of Mengsk saying this. And
so he's trying to get it to these broadcast
towers
he wants to transmit it to the people?
He wants to upload it to everybody to destroy Mengsk's government, right? And here's what I'm thinking. This is the fucking future. We've got spaceships. We got Protoss who can pull out some new psionic power out of their ass as the plot requires. There's like no limit to what can be done. And you're going to put an audio tape of Mengsk saying something that makes him sound bad, and apparently he's not going to be able to refute this by saying, you know, shenanigans, this is made up, this totally didn't happen. No.
This was an audio shop.
It's like, you know, he's like the mayor of Toronto got caught smoking crack and fought harder.
Republic. The simple Confederates, I mean the simple citizens of the Dominion.
I guess so.
They can't really comprehend that.
They need some folksy homespun wisdom.
Speaking of folksy homespun wisdom, attack!
Smoky homespun wisdom. Smoky homespun. Smoky bacon flavor.
You heard it here first, folks.
But I should have put a damn tower up there.
Only you can prevent forest fires, and JG from researching everything.
I'm not sure how you would prevent that, unless you hack into my computer.
That can be arranged.
Yeah.
I don't know, your zombie minions are gonna get right on that.
Yep.
I have contacts. They will thumbs up my shit right now.
I'm gonna comment on one of your videos and get so many thumbs up.
This video will get like more thumbs ups than any single other one of your videos.
I'm going.
And you'll know why deep down.
Deep down.
That's a negatory.
I don't think you can top the RTK-12, although that also has my record for thumbs downs. Go figure.
Sure thing.
See,
somehow I'm not surprised.
So I tried to send an SCV up on that, you know, higher altitude there, figuring that because there were visibly stairs on the side of that building, but they were just decorative stairs, so it didn't work.
Those stairs could not support the weight of a space construction vehicle.
Yeah, I mean, you look at them. They're not packed in nice and tight anymore. I figure they're,
Right, which means the outfit is looser, which means it weighs heavier.
I don't know that I follow your logic for sure, but what I'm thinking is, like...
This is how I feel all the time.
How do we see... Where do we see people in the Starcraft universe ever just wandering around not wearing either marine armor or the SCV thing? I guess we're supposed to understand there are such a thing as civilians, but...
Well, there's the Terran civilian unit.
That's true.
Gotcha.
I tell you what, I think I'll join up.
Go ahead. Move it.
You know, you better watch your attitude, or I'm gonna contact my friend Alan Shazar. I got an inside route with him. He only used 1% of his power against you last time, but
that's right. You know what? I can contact my friend the Enslaver's Dark Vengeance campaign and send it to you along with the audio file.
That's true. I've never seen the Dark. I've seen the original Enslavers. I have access to it like anyone else, but I don't know. How did you come across the other one? Is that something you had to download?
It's available for free from Battle.net.
Okay, so you did download it. It didn't show up with your battle chest.
I don't have a battle chest.
Okay.
You scared me.
So it didn't come with your battle chest because your battle chest doesn't exist.
That's right. Unlike you and Bobo, who apparently thought like 4 copies of the battle.
I like to buy 3 or 4 a year. I actually have 2 copies of the completely worthless Diablo 2 gameplay guide from Brady Games. They're both hanging around in my apartment.
To be fair, I do have a Diablo 2 strategy guide as well. We had that discussion before involving Andario.
That's true. That's true. I don't think I would have ever noticed the nipple chains without that helpful illustration.
And together we enlightened Bobo, like, oh yeah, nipple chains.
Nipple chains, Bobo. Nipple chains. Where have you been all your life? So, to briefly comment on what's happening on screen, we did have some beautiful siege tank placement by the AI during its attack.
I witnessed that glory.
Yeah.
It also seems like you're having a Thor conga line.
Well, I want the Odin to be leading them, of course. And sadly, I couldn't find a way to place the science vessels in front of and somewhat below the waistline of the Thor, so they would be like, you know, science testicles. But
Explore reporting.
Bad news.
excellent, Smithers.
Roger.
There was like a grand level shot. My God, he sounds just like Mr. Burns.
I never realized that before. When it was one of those things that once someone points it out to you, it's obvious. But no, it's like, oh yeah, I guess that probably is him.
Son of a bitch, the voice actor who did this is a genius. It's an exact carbon copy of that guy.
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute, you mean Kerrigan is actually a
Blitz.
car?
Upgrade
Whatever the heck,
complete.
actually she's not a car, she's
No,
the other one.
that's Cassia.
Right. Oops. Somebody commented on one of your videos recently, like their mind was blown when they realized that Judicator Aldaris is actually Colonel Campbell from Metal Gear. And I'm like, what? I can rattle off like a half a dozen things that voice actor's done. He's my personal hero.
I couldn't. And, I have that experience more for the Fallout videos, the Tony J. Hardon video than I do for the Starcraft.
You
it involves
speak of
Chris
experience, Judicator. You speak of knowledge. I have wandered the void between the most distant stars. Sorry. Yeah, a little Dark Templar moment there.
He followed me home.
I have witnessed the birth of negative suns, and let me tell you something, bitch.
I love how, you know, Zeratul basically, you know, tries to lay this verbal smackdown out and it's like, we shall see.
Like no soul. It's like Chris Jericho trying to use catchphrases against The Rock. He just puts the hand up.
I'm still trying to understand how that was a threat out there. It's like, so I'm in a carrier, and Dark Templar just teleported past all my photon cannons and into my base.
He's gonna start. He's gonna fuck. You're gonna launch interceptors. Zeratul's gonna like jump on each interceptor like a step so that he can fly up to the carrier and take a swipe with like
shit, you know?
dark side blade. You don't fuck with Zeratul.
I mean, I did have like a few groups of scouts, but I mean, still. You know what I want? I want this fucking, you know, this remote recall power all these fucking heroes have for the Protoss. This is bullshit. Every time I fucking play.
And honestly, my biggest bitch for that whole thing, other than the fact that it took me the better part of an hour and I probably lost at least 10 fucking carriers to stasis fields. But my biggest bitch was, wait a minute, so Zeratul is now only able to be seen by detectors when I'm controlling him. But when he's like up to his own devices, he's like, I don't give a fuck about detectors. Boom, I'm here.
I like to imagine that, you know, a lot of sabotage and other trickery involving the Dark Arts was involved, but why the fuck don't I have access to Dark Templar sabotage?
I mean, I don't even see an energy meter on this guy. Shouldn't I have like a, you know, there's a cooldown period for the rules of physics stop working because you want them to skill that Zeratul possesses.
Fucking Chris Metzen.
You speak of experience, Judicator.
Your forces
well, fuck
are
your
under
experience.
attack.
You get into a situation where, say for example, you're clearing out these Cerebrids and infested Kerrigan is going to show up in episode 4 as soon as I kill them. In the middle of the Zerg base, you know, Zeratul and Aldaris teleport in, and infested Kerrigan comes out of nowhere. I'm like, what the fuck?
Squash them like bugs.
Upgrade.
Well, that's right. This is the
complete.
famous, like, of all the painful moments in Brood War, the one where you've cornered Aldaris and he's like, okay, let me explain why I have turned against you. I have a very good reason for having betrayed your trust. And then, like, slowly, an observer kinda comes in. Kerrigan pops out with some lurkers. Like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Somebody want to react to this in any way? No? Eldaris, you want to
And
just
they're
like fucking
like
run?
shocked, like, my God, I can't believe you burrowed those lurkers in front of my face like that, executed him in a few hits. I could have stopped you. The 4 dozen scouts I had kill out there. Destroy the hallucination could have stopped you. I banish you from this planet. And I must reflect on what Aldaris said in his crazy convoluted fashion.
But I won't get around to reflecting on that for another 2
Matriarch, it
episodes.
seems like you have changed over the past 2,000 years. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, okay.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. Execute
Fucking
it.
really?
Oh, no. I mean, what...
Kerrigan had us played the entire time. I don't think it means anything.
Well, I mean,
It's like
we wouldn't have much of a storyline if these characters behaved as intelligently as they were supposed to.
It's like the Protoss and their infinite hubris are just like so naive. I don't know how the hell to describe it. It's like, I've lived for several hundred years. I'm a xenophobe. Every other race is dumb. They could never pull off a fast one over the Protoss.
Well, this is echoing a thought I had in a pretty recent Fallout New Vegas video, where I was compelled, as you did in your Fallout video, to kill the entire Brothers of Steel. The plot compelled me to do it this time, and as I'm murdering them, I'm saying, "Fucking xenophobes don't trust outsiders." Well, I'm gonna cheat. Oh, I guess I'm kind of confirming your feelings, aren't I? This is what you get for not trusting outsiders.
Your forces are under attack.
Well, that means that you had to kill Veronica too, right? Or you just didn't talk with her about it?
No, I left her behind. I told her, wait for me here.
It followed
Which
me home.
shouldn't work, but it does. Go
Can
figure.
I keep it?
Actually, that game, holy crap. You want to talk about people who the plot says they're brilliant and then it don't really work out that way. There's a whole plot line where there's like the evil Caesar's Legion guys are sitting on this underground bunker full of technology. They don't know exactly what it is. They just know it's dangerous and their enemies want to use it. So they ask you, a complete stranger who just shows up, regardless of what your history is with that faction. They're like, hey, could you go down there and take care of what's down there for us? And we're not going to double check and see what you did. Thanks. I'm like,
take this platinum chip. It will unlock the way.
like,
Mr. House is waiting for you down there like, hey, now that you've made it. Wait, what? How did you get involved? How the fuck did you get down here?
Well, I mean, the platinum chip is houses. I get that, but I'm like, why? You're like the leader of an army, and you're like, hey, you, complete stranger who, in my playthrough at least, has constantly thwarted my force. Could you please go down to the underground bunker I'm sitting right on top of?
You have to admit, in his infinite wisdom, he realizes there might be death traps down there. Why don't we send a complete stranger?
And that's what one of my commentators told me, but I'm like, this guy has a huge army of people he doesn't value. He also has a massive force of slaves.
But if he values them all more than you.
I guess, because then, lo and behold, I go down there, I do exactly what he doesn't want me to do, and then I come out and say, yeah, I took care of it, boss, no problem, thumbs up. I don't know. I think he might be.
But clearly,
he's a
he
Protoss
thinks
in
he's
disguise.
such a great person, like a great people person, that he would detect any traces of a lie.
But he did.
But when Benny shot you in the head, it completely fucked with your whole face, so you don't give away lies anymore.
I think my speech skill was high enough that I could convince anyone of anything. Thor is here, by the way.
Slept with your mom last night. She's been dead for 34 years. I still slept with her.
Off the leash.
Well, that requires a speech check of 85, and you have 90, so I guess I believe you.
Let's see what this baby's got.
I mean, it's kind of awkward, but
I think that's what it is that Zeratul has a stealth of 90, but you only need a stealth of 85 to temporarily be able to bypass detectors, and also to jump up on carriers and kill them with side blades. So.
Meanwhile, like his mental perception and like other faculties in his brain, like every other Protoss, are like stunted. Like the only person who had any sort of intellect was Tassadar, and even his was like 6. By the way, the primary reason that we're all gathered here is to stop the Zerg from taking over everything.
You're gonna ruin all life as we know it.
Is anybody else even aware of this? Am I the only one who knows about this arc at this point?
After you freed me from this prison, I had a great epiphany while sitting in jail. Zeratul, explain it to them.
Zeratul, you're going to jail. Tassadar, you're stuck in jail. No, but this is Tassadar, the great intellect who, when faced by the massive Dominion armada of Duke, knowing that he has himself and approximately 2 zealots in the Dragoon, is like, you know what? You just fucking bring it, Terrence. I'm ready for you. I don't need.
I'm gonna take that as a hostile response. That blew my mind. I don't care whether I sent the real shuttle or not. That would not have changed what transpired, which was sudden death.
It's like the fact that Duke thinks he sees. Okay, so Duke is his forces are literally hallucinating a shuttle. It's not actually there. So they're briefly like, "Holy crap, Protoss, are you out there?" Now, if he had the intelligence that he's supposed to have, I would be like, everyone stay real quiet, because when they go investigate that shuttle, there's not actually going to be anything there.
We Protoss have been alive and been spacefaring civilization and are capable of psionic powers and were created by the Xel'Naga themselves. You puny Terrans aren't capable of wiping your own asses. I'm gonna take that as a hostile response.
Well, it wasn't
12 rafes in a battle cruiser later. Welp.
Well, what was it? The which I only found out about from the video descriptions. The Protoss duty to overlook, to oversee other lesser civilizations and guide them, and that they took on, and they were, and so like they've studied the Terrans and been like,
there was the Day-Ul.
They are at least 2,000 years away from having the technology and culture to wipe their own asses. That day is coming, but right now they are not prepared.
The process of the stewardship that Judicator Alderus and the rest of the Conclave ordered, we have determined salient points about this race of humans.
Their asses remain unwiped.
They have to use bidets.
Squash them like bugs.
How can I possibly only be halfway through?
Your forces are under attack.
Well, GG.
What the hell? How can I only be?
It all started whenever you decided it would be a great idea to kill everything and upgrade everything.
Oh, well, you do pretty much have to kill everything, because when you get to these broadcast points, you have to hold them for a set period of time. So I don't feel like I'm doing overkill at this point, but I do not understand how I can only be halfway through. I think part of it's because I fucked around with. There's a whole bunch of units where I never got to show what their vocalizations are, so I probably tried to use.
Oh dear! This video is the best time.
Again, not knowing I was gonna have a guest hanging out.
It's like, like I said, you could have ended up playing this at 2x speed. It's like, you haven't even started any upload progress yet. Like, I have to build all these units, Bobby.
I think I'm going to try to use nukes, because I have not been able to get nukes to work ever. There's like one mission where they basically tell you you must use nukes, and I got nukes. That one. Oh, here we go, Mengsk.
Have come together to forge the final answer to the Zerg threat.
So, there's that. I love me some Mengsk. I'm so glad they brought back the voice actors for most of the principal characters.
This baby's got.
To be fair, most of them were pretty much Blizzard employees anyway.
Who called in the fleet?
Oh, so, I mean, if he was, then he wasn't just a pro voice actor. The Mengsk guy's really solid.
Yeah.
Nuclear missile
Many of
ready.
the, you will have noticed, like, throughout many of the Blizzard games, there's a lot of commonalities and shared voice actors, because they have so many other people, like the animators and the art guys, and the story guys, and the script guys.
What's your call?
Come in and do a little bit of voice acting.
Bring it.
I can hardly believe that you defeated Bloodraven. Thanks, Kerrigan. You're a doll.
Beat the rage.
I can hardly believe you have defeated Bloodraven. And now that Bloodraven's defeated, we can rise together to form a more perfect Amazon fleet.
Fellow my god, that damn final speech there, it is awesome. I want to hate him, and it's just like, you son of a bitch.
He's
it's
too
great.
fucking epic. So you surprised me. I didn't realize you had any knowledge or interest in Fallout New Vegas. But what he reminds me of more than anything is, and this is later, of course, was the Malcolm McDowell character from Fallout 3. Who was like, again, like, it's a British actor, but he's doing this unspeakably awesome, like, Southern gentleman voice. And he's completely evil, but his voice is so awesome, like, you want to root for him anyway.
Vespine geyser exhausted.
So I need to repair my Terran units. If
Vespine
only I had some
geyser
Protoss
exhausted.
probes that could repair my Terran units. Oh, and there's the game's only science facility. It's like a little
Let's
Easter
see
egg
what
thing.
this baby's got.
That's not a building
Make
in
room
this
for
game
the
normally,
big
but
dog.
they include it here as a way to unlock components. So that's fun.
They follow me
Why
home.
you've destroyed it.
Yeah, it's destroying it unlocks a secret.
Secret found! Ragnor, rock and roll.
I think I saved here in case something fucks up, and I want to make sure I get my secret mission.
Well, thank God you covered your bases in case something fucked up.
Absolutely.
Decisive fucking.
So, no spoilers for your channel viewers, but what do you think is the best ending? The Terran Starcraft ending or the Terran Brood
Just
War
stay
ending?
out of my
Because
way.
it's definitely a Terran ending.
I sense their fear.
I got a soft spot for that UED ending cinematic. And there's
I don't know.
There's me not being able to use Ray or Spectres.
Mineral
or
field
I mean, you know, reviewing all the endings here, let's see. We've got the Terran cinematic ending with Arcturus Mengsk, you know, going to town there. There's the Zerg ending with, you know, the Overmind deciding, well, if it's time for me to embed myself on Ire, have fun, lol, Zorth Protoss. Surely you won't find a way to stop me with your intellect of 4.
Now, if the Overmind actually said any of those things in his voice, it would definitely be the best ending for that.
Awaken my child and fuck over the Protoss.
Lol, Zerg, you can't have nice things, came I.
And you will now enter Dakota.
Then we have the Protoss where it's like, Tassadar is like, no, I will do this.
I'm gonna commit
I will be
suicide
remembered.
for no reason.
Let's
Scourge everywhere. I will now proceed to suicide my carrier. I will make this happen. And then we have episode 4 where it's kind of like, it's like this whole like completely awkward situation. It's just like, I'm still trying to understand how the fuck the Zelnaga temple works.
There's only one man arrogant enough to think he can get away with this.
Grimmith. Or Kerensky.
Huh. Just for once, Arcturus.
Yeah,
this really is all about
I mean, like, the Zelnaga, how did that work? Like, we're going to protect all life that is safely ensconced within the temple. I don't think everyone on Chikura's got into the fucking temple. What if we make this temple here? In 2,000 years into the future, one of our babies will use this temple against another one of our babies. We'll have to help them fend off the babies.
Well, I guess my best guess was that the temple was only going to wipe out Zerg life, but then, like you said, they did make a point of how everyone was supposed to evacuate inside.
Oh, really?
Right. You know, it's supposed to only kill Zerg life, so, I mean, the Zelnaga, historically, were going by the Starcraft lores within the original manual. Not all of them were defeated, but practically almost every single one of them was incorporated to the Overmind. Yeah. So, you know, it's kind of like the situation, like, they didn't know the Zerg would be coming to Shikuras at some point, and that the Protoss would need to use it. I think Infested Kerrigan just planted the goddamn idea in the Matriarch's head. I seriously do. They're just like, yes, I can somehow bullshit this crystal thing enough that it could just work. And somehow the Protoss survive. Later on, Kerrigan's like, what? They're actually going into the temple?
They were supposed to die.
Really?
Well, I guess everything that Protoss do in Brood War is part of Kerrigan's master plan, and I hate that as a storytelling device, that like big chunks of plot turn out to have been a trick by some omnipotent. I absolutely.
It's like the Xanatos Gambit. No matter what you do, I win.
Right.
Just like, you know, I just found the whole situation is like, okay, good. We escaped from Ire. We left behind Jim Raynor and Phoenix, who had to shut the gate down from their end. You know, oh shit, the Zerg somehow followed us through. Oh shit, Cerebrate somehow followed us through. Alright guys, you know how we're gonna stop this shit? We're gonna find crystals. What?
How exciting.
Crystals?
I don't know.
Two crystals scattered across the Caprilu sector?
I don't know how.
That's somehow gonna fix everything?
I don't know how the Cerebrats are supposed to have followed them. I always figured they were supposed to have gotten there first. Because it's like a warp gate that goes to Shikura, so I'm like, okay, maybe
the home world of the, well, not the home world, but like, that's the main world of the Dark Templar.
I know.
How the fuck did they not notice?
I think, you know what happened is they followed Sherazar there. Because he got to Ire, like, before... I think Sherazar's forces were on Ire before the Zelnaga were.
For a moment there, whenever you said Shazar, I thought you meant like Al-Hazir. Like Uber Al-Hazir, who's lost to the sin.
He walked the earth, now he walks Ire as well.
And he walks Shakura. Fighting Uber Diablo wherever he goes.
And I'll have that video uploaded and people will know what we're talking about in about a month's time. That's right.
Man. It's great.
No, but I love the idea that Sherazar has been on Shakuras and Ire. He's probably like, there's some new plot strand with this dark voice that comes from the void that is controlling everything. Again, I hate that device. It probably turns out to be Sherazar. I sure hope it does.
It's just like, you guys had Zelnaga. I mean, sure, the Zerg destroyed one Zelnaga temple where the Overmind embedded. I thought they at least had another. Couldn't you put the crystals in there and eliminated all the Zerg on the fucking planet? No, we only had this epiphany on Shakuras. Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're just going to go looking for the Kaprulu sector and find crystals. And along the way, oh, suddenly, we've been imprisoned in a massive UED.
Well, you know that the Overmind itself can never be truly defeated until you find its original form, which is located, of course, on Coney Island in New York City. So until someone tracks down the Coney Island location of the Overmind, I really hate the fact that they killed the Overmind. He's my favorite character.
I mean, since it contains all which embodies the Zerg, it can exist so long as a Zerg itself is alive.
Yes, sir.
I guess. Maybe they'll bring him back. I don't know. Oh, here we go. One minute.
Symbol of the unyielding strength of the Terran Dominion.
Well, this game has a brief sequence that I'm sure you would hate, where Zeratul has to go back and he has to travel back to Ire, and he has to find the corpse of the Overmind and try to use his special psi power to get information from it. So you end up having
that moment where they touched brains in fucking Starcraft.
Right. So
he couldn't have gotten the information there. He forgot.
Well, no, this is new, and I guess it's like something he didn't think to ask the Overmind's brain the last time he was inside of it. So he goes to its corpse to chat with the Overmind, and we get this kind of spectral image of the Overmind. It's the Overmind's ghost, like Obi-Wan Kenobi style. And I'm like, what?
Security breach at one of the towers. Strike team
Does
Alpha,
this mean he can't come back? Because I want him back. I want the Overmind
back. Because I'm pretty good at not going on this tangents. There's the episode 4. There's the Protoss ending, which is, like I said, it's what? Okay. The weapon of mass destruction wiped out all of the Protoss technology you had on the planet, apparently, but, you saved the race.
Well, we never...
On this planet.
On that mission, we never really saw anything that looked like a Dark Templar city. It kind of looked like they all just kind of hang around in the dunes, just chilling. Yeah. Although they do, I guess in episode 6 there's a Dark Protoss city, so...
I mean, and then we have the episode 5 ending, which I sort of remember. I don't think it's bad. Then the episode 6 ending, which is the penultimate. I think that ends up being the most epic, the ultimate final cutscene of the game, if only because of what you end up going through.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels the one that was the hardest earned. I mean, since there's no cinematic cutscene at the end of his flavors, that's the best you're gonna get. Just Kerrigan telling the entire universe to step the fuck down.
Secret to the Dominion.
Of course, the sad fact is that I mean, you sort of feel like boss, yeah, I'm the Cerebrate that fended off all these motherfuckers. I'm awesome, and then of course, infested Kerrigan's gonna liquidate you.
That's true.
And she does.
Well,
Starcraft lore.
But
that Cerebrate who was there in episode 6, he's gone.
Oh yeah, I only know about that from reading the wiki though. I never had that impression when I was playing the game.
That's pretty much what Kerrigan intended anyway. Can't have any Cerebrates around because, don't need them. They might try to do crazy shit like making Overminds, the controller.
But again, none of that stuff, I didn't get any of that until I got curious and read about it later. It doesn't sort of come
and you can definitely assume episode 5 UED guy kind of died on the Alexander whenever the 15,000 Mutalisks were sent after.
Let's see what this baby's got.
Well, the episode 2 guy shoots himself, or... Well, you're talking about the Gaul? He shoots himself. Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about the guy you play as in episode 5.
Okay, relax. Yes, no, but yeah, I would have to imagine he died, because if no Terrans made it back, then that either he died or he pops up as a top secret guy later on who's like, oh, I've been living on Shakuras with the Protoss, and I teamed up with,
and Artanis,
Salazar,
you know,
Kerensky,
I assume, you know, that at some point he dies. I just don't know when. And, the guy you play as in episode 4, I don't know what becomes of him.
Get me back into the fight.
The episode 4 guy? Yeah, well, I got curious and I read about it. The episode 4 person, some people claim, there's a hero in Starcraft 2 who pops up as a Protoss hero, doesn't really have a big part in the story. Some people have vaguely indicated that she may be your player character in episode 4, but I really don't care.
Unless I get official word out from the mouth of Chris Meta himself, I can't believe it.
I don't like episode 4. It's a bit. I guess because they knew that the Protoss campaign from Starcraft was the hardest. They wanted people to have a nice, easy campaign to play with Protoss units. But it's like, oh, by the way, this is the Thor vocalization for Miss.
I'm trying to sneak up on them.
It's like, oh.
I like the Thor vocalization.
You waited a year from Starcraft to Starcraft Brood War? You wanted to have more Protoss, right? There you go. I mean, you don't have to do them in order, but it's kind of like if you wanted to do them in order.
Right.
I suppose it makes sense. It's like, hey, yeah, that whole inspirational thing. You saved Ire. Overminds. Oh, wait. What about the rest of this? Oh.
To crush the Zerg.
Oh.
See that driven before
yeah.
And hear the lamentations of the Protoss.
All the Zerg, they're still alive.
Something for me.
Well, I'm sure some of them died. I guess I never got how the Zerg are supposed to function without the Overmind. They totally rewrite how the Zerg work too, but it's official, so I guess it counts.
Receiving headquarters.
And after all, they do at StarCraft 2. You've got Raynor going around. You got dialogue, conversations, decision trees, and stuff with other Terrans. Then you come to Heart of the Swarm, and you're like, how the fuck are we going to have Kerrigan going around talking to a bunch of Zerglings? Not really very good for dialogue if she just goes up to Ultimus.
Now, what I heard, and you'll have to confirm this for me or not, because otherwise I don't care enough to look into myself. I hear that in Heart of the Swarm, they tried to... The labeling of Sarah Kerrigan is the protagonist of the campaign. I'm not sure under any circumstance you could call her a protagonist anymore.
Mineral field depleted.
Well, I mean, that depends on how you define protagonist. If she's the person that you're following, then yeah, she is. Calling her a hero would be a bit dubious.
Greetings, Command.
But yeah, no, I mean, I played Heart of the Swarm.
Receiving headquarters.
Not going to do a lot of plot spoiling on this video, but yeah, I played through it. You
Transmit orders.
It's kind of... I was interested to see how they do it. I wasn't wholly disappointed, and it was like...
I'll have to remember that. What?
They did do something which I think I've mentioned, so it's not really a spoiler for anybody, that they play up this relationship between her and Jim Raynor, which happens a lot. Jim Raynor's like totally heartsick for Kerrigan throughout the StarCraft 2 storyline. And while I'm sure we don't see every minute of their day as part of StarCraft, I'm like, I remember 2 conversations.
Indeed, there were 2 missions that were excised from the episode 1 campaign. One of which involves the Sons of Korhal actually, combining forces with Tassadar.
Oh. So they have a lot more dialogue to develop their characters and stuff in these 2 missions. It's like we really get a strong sense of their bond based on the 2 excised missions. I wouldn't mind seeing those. Are they downloadable from Battle.net or something?
No, the only way for them to get them, they wouldn't be on your Battle.net CD. I think it would basically be if I pulled out my StarCraft CD and excised them using some sort of crazy system in order to try to save them from like an NPQ file. They might be downloadable somewhere. I just haven't gone to look for them. I don't care.
No.
And one of the other missions, you
totally
get to drive around as General Edmund Duke in a tank, which you also get to do in the Precursors campaign.
Yeah, I would totally check it out if you did that. But I would be one vote for doing that, although I understand that it's not a democracy.
What's your call?
We have 100 votes in favor, 1 vote against. Well, the vote that comes against comes from the guy who's actually going to have to do it.
Bring it. Someone's like, I'll do it for you, Griffith. No, no, you won't, because I'm not doing it.
No, but my point was that, like, based on about probably about maybe 50 shared words between them in Starcraft. In Starcraft 2, she's the love of his life, and he can't believe that you know, all this, and I'm like...
I mean, you have to imagine that all the space travel and all the campaigns and activities they did to get to the capital world of the Confederacy took time.
Yeah, but in Brood War, he's ready to fucking murder her. He's like, I'm gonna avenge Phoenix, and, you know...
Well, that's because Phoenix was his bro. They held off the entire Zerg swarm together on the other side of that fucking warp gate they shut down.
Maybe this...
Also, spoilers, I didn't know I was gonna have to...
Maybe this says something about me, but I'm totally buying the whole Raynor Phoenix thing more than Raynor Kerrigan. I can totally picture, like, you know, Raynor getting drunk.
He's a crippled, mortally wounded body in, like, an exoskeleton.
Yeah. And, like, they go out together, they hang out, Raynor has a little too much to drink, so Phoenix has to, like, scoop him up, put him on top of the Dragoon, and carry him back, you know.
It's Raynor.
Aye, laddie.
Jim Raynor Phoenix fanfiction. Go!
No, I'm not talking, like, slash fiction, I'm just saying they're hanging out. I'm not saying that this is gonna be, like, the, you know, sensitive tale of their forbidden love. The forbidden love between one Terran and one Dragoon.
Ready for dust off.
Their babies will still be shitty at pathfinding.
Yes,
right on. I did realize now why there's so much time left in the video. It's because all of the post-video stuff with, like, plot and dialogue is in there. So it's up to you if you want to hang out for that. You won't probably have any idea what the fuck they're talking about, so...
I'm not gonna hear them talking anyway.
What, you can't hear them talking?
No, I can't hear any of the sound.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. That's right, I didn't set any of that up. Okay, no, that explains why you didn't seem that, taken by Archer's Mengsk little pop-up dialogue. Yeah, that suddenly makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a guy giving us dialogue. That's pretty exciting. The Wraith is giving his unit identification stuff. Wraith, another unit. I'm pretty sure it's campaign only. It's just so that people wouldn't complain that you couldn't use Wraiths at all.
Go ahead, Command. Last transmission breaking up. Come back. I'm just curious. Why am I so good?
Yeah, the Wraith was one of my favorite voices in the first game. I liked the just kind of stuck-up, cocky personality of the Wraith, even if I didn't use them very much myself.
Everybody's got to die sometime, Red.
They're great for anti-air, I guess.
Good, the fucking pilots get themselves killed. You shouldn't do that.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I certainly would never design a Wraith hero unit and expect the player to keep it alive. That would just be sadistic.
All wings.
When they're expendable, they're
That's
great.
like fucking Phoenix trying to keep Phoenix. I'm glad your ass got put in a cocoon. You won't fucking die now. My first loss is Phoenix is like, you know, I long for battle. Charge these fucking colonies while Grimace paying attention to the Reavers. Like, you son of a bitch.
Well,
this is my first loss, Phoenix, you motherfucker.
It reminded me for all the world of the toughest mission Bobo and I had in Dynasty Warriors 7 was the one where you're supposed to get, it's Guan Yu and his sons, and they've been cornered, and this is the battle historically where Guan Yu dies. And you play as one of Guan Yu's kids, and the mission is you have to keep Guan Yu alive long enough to hit the plot cinema scene where he dies. And if Guan Yu dies before you get to the plot cinema scene where he's supposed to die, you lose. And we were just like, what the fuck is it? Was crazy. It's like, he's gonna die 30 seconds early, so we lose. Compounding the problem being it's Dynasty Warriors, so 90% of the people playing the game already know the story from the previous 6 fucking games.
Just kidding.
Yeah. But no, your Phoenix, yeah, he had a very Guan Yu kind of moment there. It's like, I can't die until the next mission.
Shit here! I'm left alone at Antioch, I'm being overrun out there. You know, I could really use some backup out there, so it's like, fight on, brave Phoenix! Let the will of Kala Nadun carry on. Like, I'm sure he would appreciate a few troops for this. I'm just throwing that out there. No, young executor, for I will tell you what we now must do rather than save brave Phoenix in Antioch.
We must leave Iron its time of need.
Both arms blown off.
Go to the planet Shaw
I normally
to
don't give
arrest
rise
that
to
motherfucker
strangers.
Tassadar.
Well,
Be
you know,
sure
he's
to
the
wipe
most
your feet at the door.
dangerous threat to anything ever.
That still blows my mind. Like, really?
I'm going.
Really? Is this what we're gonna fucking do?
Let's
The
see
Overmind has embedded itself in the planet of
Cody.
Shaw.
So did Alvarez actually like
Take him out.
like sabotage Phoenix's side blades? Because I can't think of anything he could have done to be more of a dick in that situation. Like there's a whole cinema where Phoenix's side blades just stopped working.
I know, it's like, so much of this whole charging ahead into sunken colonies thing. This is, damn.
I'm so glad that Grimmett like restarted that mission to save me, so I.
But of course, you know, the one time his side blades die is also the one time the Zerg somehow leave his ass alive. Because I'll tell you what, whenever he melts in that blue flash of psionic energy on the fucking map during the game, he doesn't live. We can't get him to the Dragoon exoskeleton page in May in time.
It's pretty cool if you could. And then if his Dragoon form dies, he turns into a carrier or something.
That's the last one.
Into a carrier?
Why not?
Beloved Emperor now.
Every time he dies, we'll just turn him into something else. He keeps dying, we're gonna turn him into a damn Ultralisk.
All transmissions have been sent, sir.
It's a rat.
Every world in the Dominion just got a UNN special bulletin about Mengsk.
Fucking Taras.
Alright, so the people are revolting.
We've done it! We've overwhelmed the Terran Dominion on
hard difficulty, which is so much harder. You wouldn't underbelieve it.
It took you less than an hour, JG. You did a good job.
I'm awesome like that. Alright, so I think the smart thing to do, since you won't be able to hear the damn dialogue anyways, is just cut it off here. And thank you very much, Grimmett, for helping me get through an hour of turtling. And keeping it interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you know, interesting being a loosely defined word. Interesting in quotation marks, I suppose. So I'm going to cut off my recording. Thank you very much, and I'll chat with you in a second. I guess. I don't know, unless you're already gone.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. Grimmett is leaving, folks. Bye-bye. Okay there, folks. I am back to solo commentary. Thanks again to Grimmett for being such a big sweetheart. And as you might have gleaned, I think it even came up during the discussion there, I didn't realize when I started recording the co-commentary with him that he couldn't hear the game audio, which is why I was, you know, kind of surprised when he didn't react to any of the dialogue from Jungle Jim Raynor or Mengsk or whatnot. So yeah, I'm back to doing solo commentary, solo post-commentary for the end of the video because, as I gathered, he couldn't hear the dialogue, so he wasn't really going to be able to listen to or respond to the story stuff. So we'll go through the story stuff together. And there was certainly some amount of in-game dialogue that we probably spoke over. Mostly it was just mission update stuff from, what's his name, our second-in-command guy? Horton Here's a Who, whatever his name is, Matt Horner, and General Warfield, who kind of popped up in a previous cinematic, but hasn't really been a huge character. He kind of announced that the Dominion was going to like get us, and Mengsk had a little bit of dialogue. But now we're ready to get on with the story. And my big question at this point was, how can we possibly think that in this high-tech future, getting an audio recording of Mengsk saying something bad and giving it to the media, like, you know, we can manipulate videos today. Clearly, in the future, wouldn't they be able to manipulate just audio? I mean, couldn't you just get somebody from, like, you know, like Rich Little to come do his Mengsk impression and make Mengsk say horrible things? I don't understand why this is going to topple Mengsk's empire, but clearly that's the direction that we're heading in. So, like whatever that British show is where they have the guy do impressions of the Fourth Doctor and stuff. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Sure you do. Anyway, we're in the Hyperion Cantina. It's a little after 11. And we're watching TV. Late night host.
The Emperor held a news conference earlier today.
How do you respond to these allegations of genocide? Of using aliens to
I assure you, these slanderous
Oh, I did it.
attacks
I admit it.
against the throne are
I mean,
baseless
no.
and irresponsible.
Sir, do you still stand by the sentiment that selfless
Hey, the
devotion
one
to
reporter in
people
the
is
game.
the basis of your rule?
Well, of course.
Nah, I gave up on that.
To serve the greater interest of humanity. Personal
Then what about
power was
Benghazi,
never
sir?
my goal.
Then how would you characterize this statement?
I will not.
How would you characterize those epaulets?
Not by you or the Confederates or the Protoss or
That's obviously faked. Duh.
I
I will rule Sector 5!
I won't stand for this.
Wow, did your flashes just get a lot brighter?
This interview is over.
You know, I love...
You know, I would think he would just have the feed cut. I don't understand why he's doing interviews anyway. I mean, I guess this is when he was ambushed by it. Scarbrand liquor. How could he have been ambushed by it? It went out... I mean, they knew this was coming. I don't know. I understand what they're trying to get at. I don't know why I'm nitpicking at these details. Especially 100 battles with you at the command, sir.
Right. Well, it's what we started this revolution for in the first place.
Media manipulation. We've come a long way, baby, to get where we got to today.
Just like you always said.
Hey, man.
You know, Matt, someday you're gonna wind up leading this bunch of misfits.
Well, I already led us in episode 1, except that was somebody else.
Sir.
That, Salazar, Skarzar, whatever the heck his name is, guy. He's the, I think we've decided now, he was the Terran player character in episode 1, that after he leaves Raynor and Mengsk, he captures the Zerg Cerebrid, forces it to do his will, and sets up a base on Aiur before anybody other than the Protoss has discovered where Aiur is. So, I guess I'm just going to do post-commentary until Past JG decides to end the video. Past JG, not knowing, of course, that there was going to be a problem, has no particular drive to put story chit-chat stuff off until the next video. I kind of wish now that he did. There we've got, what's her name, tight leather jacket lady. And I guess he might be wearing like some kind of future pleather jacket too, that dude. Are we going to talk to them, or are we going to fiddle around with this stuff? I guess I'm going to fiddle around with that stuff. I can't quite commit to whether I want to click it. I think I got the impression, something gave me the impression that there was new clickable stuff up here based on doing that mission. A new Folsom you get from doing the Tosh mission, so I'm not sure. Now I'm not sure what it was that made me think that. I do remember having seen something that made me think I unlocked whatever. That's from Tosh. Not .0. Let's speak to Tosh.
You went in.
Let's
may never be on your side. But after today, they smell blood on Mengsk. And that's good for all of us.
You are the Obama to their Fox News.
Kate Lockwell here, live from Core Hall.
Let's talk about that, Kate Lockwell.
Citizens are setting fire to government buildings to express their shock.
Everyone completely believes the audio tape of Mengsk being
Donnie,
evil.
What's the situation where you are?
I had a brother on Tarsonis. I had a brother there.
Right. Thanks for that, Donnie. Okay.
I kind of wish they'd done more with Donnie Vermillion's breakdown, because of the fact that you can play these missions out of sequence, and you might see other stuff after this. They're even going to hire Dana Carvey to do a hilarious impression of me in which he claims I committed genocide.
He's since retreated to his palace and refuses to speak to anyone. In this reporter's opinion, Emperor Mengsk has been revealed as a...
We did have his mom call him, but well, at least this time they didn't make a point of having a Imperial troop come in and clumsily demand the broadcast be shut down. And apparently the feed's back up, so that's nice. No, but Donnie Vermillion, because you can play these missions out of sequence, this is not... In my LP, it will pretty much be the last time we hear from Donnie Vermillion. So you get the impression that he just loses his shit over this, and it's kind of cool. I mean, I kind of wish that we'd seen him, like, really turn on Mengsk and rail a little bit. I might have too much interest in the, you know, the internal journey of the Donnie Vermillion character. But, yeah, that's all we get, because if we do these missions out of order, he might need to pop up and say, like, more hilariously loyalist Dominion stuff later, so they can't really make him do too much here. So I realize now that this was a wasted trip because I already have all the... I didn't get any new science research in that one. So let's talk to Swan. Just stay here. Yeah, we manipulated you by telling you you couldn't, tricking you into doing it. Reverse psychology.
Got some work to do on the chassis still, but I got to thinking about upgrades and variants, you know? They ain't gonna be cheap.
Yeah, don't think too hard, man. It's
Big
not good for
thing
you.
like that never is, but they'll be worth it. You'll see.
They'll be just as good as the battle cruiser upgrades.
I'll take a look and see what's
We live in a freaking battle cruiser, by the way. I mean, we actually live in a battle cruiser, and yet we can upgrade it, and it costs just a little bit more than it costs to upgrade those freaking Spectre guys. So, spending my last upgrade cash before we head for Char. No, that's not true. We still have the secret mission we unlocked, so I believe, I can't remember now. I think I held off until after that to see if we could afford everything. I always buy all the Thor upgrades just because they're fun, although don't really lend themselves to the last couple of Char missions. You just need to pump out units fast, and the Thor is kind of expensive. But I buy the upgrades for it anyway. That one improves its special attack. This one makes it so that if the thing is defeated, you can bring it back. You can bring it back as many times as you want, because it turns into this kind of husk form, I guess. Basically, you can spend resources to rebuild it at a fraction of the cost of building a new one from scratch, and you can rebuild it in the field. But if your forces are completely overrun, it's kind of like a Zerg egg that can be destroyed before it hatches, and this thing's significantly less tough than a Zerg egg. So I think now I'm like debating whether I'm going to even use Banshees, whether I want to buy another upgrade for them or save it for the Dungeon of Doom, brother. Because I might want to use upgrades instead on stuff like buying mercenary contracts. I haven't been using mercenaries. I might use them at the end out of nowhere suddenly. Banshees are kind of nice in the last mission of the game if you choose. We'll have a choice of what we want to clear out ahead of time. If we choose to clear out the enemy's air attackers and we face a bunch of Nidus Canals, it's useful to have good Banshees because they can slip behind Zerg lines, take out the Nidus Canals, and hopefully return alive without you having to actually fight your way to where Nidus Canals are, having like actual control over the ground. I never really got any siege tank upgrades. Now I'm just having a lot of internal debate over whether I want to upgrade siege tanks, or I've been getting by without the siege tank upgrades. Because the one I'd really like to see improved is splash damage, and you don't really have that option. So I'm just thinking about it. Just mulling it over. Probably talking with more expertise about the differences and effectiveness of the different upgrades than I am now. The one that reduces damage of siege tanks to friendly units, because I like bunkers, that's not usually a problem. If your bunkers are overrun, your siege tanks are probably also going to be killed. If you like to put units up in front of the tanks to fight instead of using bunkers, very useful. I'm mulling over Goliaths. I don't use Goliaths much. I think I'm noting here that the remaining medic upgrade is now completely worthless since we upgraded our buildings and can now build 2 medics at a time with the tech reactor. And I think, yeah, I'm just can't make up my mind, so I decided to put it off till after we've done the bonus mission.
I'm to the right place.
Oh, and now, come on, JG, just end it. I'm done. I really am done with this video. This one's been so much extra trouble because of that lost commentary. I'm looking at which mercenaries are worth hiring. Jackson's Revenge is always kind of fun. I am almost positive I do end up buying that contract, but not here. That's the next video. Oh, man. Still mulling it over. I'm sure it's fun to watch when I'm thinking about it out loud live, but now after the fact, I don't really know what to tell you. Other than congratulations on having the patience to watch all this. And just thinking about Goliaths. Tempted to just cut the video off here and not even keep any of this, but Obviously, I did buy one of the siege tank upgrades, the damage one. It's not splash damage, which I would have much preferred, but... And at this point, I might have been under the false impression that I wasn't going to get any more points until we have to go to Char. But even on Char, you do collect some credits, I believe. And, yeah, I would be really seriously thinking about cutting off the video, except that we have to go do a dialogue with Man and Woman. And then the video will be... Oh, and Tychus. We probably didn't talk to Tychus, didn't I, too? And I keep hinting at the fact, which I think they make obvious from the get-go, that Tychus was released from prison by Mengsk at his specific order. So Mengsk has some kind of master plan involving Tychus. I buy that just in case. And I will have to say, I'm hoping I can save up to get the other Banshee upgrade, and then whatever's left I'll spend on mercenary contracts, so that's fine. But yeah, I mean, I was talking about how we know Tychus was released because of Mengsk, so how does he feel now that Mengsk has apparently been overthrown? Mengsk hasn't literally been overthrown. I don't know. I'm just pointing out inconsistencies all over the place.
Well, so you're thinking about giving up this life of luxury and becoming a professional broadcaster?
Oh, regular folks
I
just
don't
ain't
think
ready
so
for
much.
the raw sex appeal I'd unleash into their great little lives.
Well, you do have the Twisted Steel part.
You, old buddy. Right to the end.
I'm glad you're part of all this, Tychus. You did
The
real
end,
good
the
today.
bitter end. Hinting at some kind of twist at the end. Raynor, I'm begging you to figure this out. I do get that sense, like, that he was released by Mengsk. He seems to know that. It seems like he has been given a specific mission that he doesn't want to execute, but he's like, please, Jimmy, figure it out. Figure it out, man. He's like Turlo from Doctor Who, because I figured I'd mention that, so anybody didn't know I was a nerd.
Those classified documents we found on Core Hall weren't anything special. Just referred to some old bioweapons lab orbiting Castanar.
I think this one might be different. The file suggests they
It's
were planning
orbiting
to terminate
Super
everyone
Castanar.
who ever worked there.
I assume that doesn't mean firing.
No, it just means
Mengsk
firing him. I
won't
don't know
kill
why
a
you'd think
whole
anything
research
else.
staff.
I don't know.
Well, they were kind of
But it
dicks.
seems like something we should check out.
It does indeed.
Does it? Does it really, Raynor? Alright, so what do we got left? We got secret mission, which is on planet whatever. I believe I'm now reading you that text, which, as my screen is currently set up, I can't do easily. And then Char. Char, all roads lead to Char. The story of Wings of Liberty terminates on Char. Not a big surprise. But we're going to do the secret mission first, because once you commit to going to Char, you can't back out. The storyline terminates at Char, and once you start down that path, you're done. So, next time, folks, will be the secret mission. Spoiler alert, I won. Not going to tell you whether I did it in the first try or not. Because I want to keep the tension going. But after we deal with that, we'll go to Char, and after... Well, Char's more than one mission long, but yeah, I think we got about... I'm gonna have a point where you have a decision point to make. I'm gonna show you both missions, as I did with the previous points in the game. And by my count, and also I need to show you at some point the special arcade mini game that's included.